Hello everybody, welcome to the Sunday Live at 5. I appreciate that you're all with me. Thank you very much for being with me. It's every last Sunday of the month that we do a cheese wine pairing, and I hope you enjoy these cheese wine pairings. I had some folks in the last couple of weeks come over here and told me that they really appreciate these cheese wine pairings, so I really am glad to hear that. So if you want to leave me some feedback when you come here, what I can do better or different, please feel free to do so. I always like very good constructive criticism. I find that really nice and helping. So I want to do that really so you guys appreciate it and have the best of experiences. Okay, so today what I would like to do, and here you see me surrounded by all these gorgeous barrels. I feel so special here. What I feel very special is these barrels that we have here inside of here. This is where our mostly red wine, but also some white wine ages. And this is, for example, where the Petit Verdot ages 18 months of its life. So having said that, you know, when you think about the wine is already 2 years old before it even goes into a bottle, that's quite something amazing. And I love coming in here because that smell is just really lovely with those old barrels. And you have, you know, the wine inside, you smell a little bit. We also have a little part, it's called the angel share, like the distilleries do have, so a little bit evaporation. And that's what lingers here in this air. So I really appreciate being in the barrel room to have this wine tasting with the cheese and wine pairing. Okay, today I selected a wine that most of you have maybe tried, but maybe some of you haven't, because this is a rather unusual grape varietal. This is a varietal that grows usually in the Douro Valley. It's the Touriga. And in Portugal, it's the national grape. It's Touriga Nacional, it's called. And the Douro Valley is a very, very steep valley that plumbs down to the river. And it's so steep, you have terrace wine growth. You have basically 3 rows and then another terrace, and three rows of wine, another terrace. So you can imagine there is no machine able to climb that hill. There's a bunch of accidents because people fall really off that hill also when they get, you know, heat strokes and stuff like this because it gets very hot. But what you have there is hand harvest, so it's really very meticulous, the hand harvest over there. And what we also do here at Barren Ridge, we don't have such steep hills, but we still do hand harvest because the Touriga is a very special grape to us. The Touriga is we baby it, as I call that. Mark McCune, our viticulturist, does a fantastic job because the Touriga has not an easy time growing here in Virginia. It is used to these sun-drenched coasts of the Douro Valley, and they don't have much humidity there. It's dry. And if you live in Virginia, you know we are not very dry in Virginia. We have rains, but we have also humidity. And the grapes are not used to that, so they are prone to mildew because the grapes, the cluster is very tight, very, very tight. And the tightness, when you think about, you have grapes that are very loose, like the Vidal Blanc. There is some moisture. Wind can go through it and dry the grapes out, which happens with the Vidal Blanc. But the Touriga does this, and when it gets wet, it seeps in the wetness and it stays inside. The wind cannot dry it out, and that's when you get mold. And we here at Barren Ridge want to make really good quality wines, and what we do here is we cut all the mold out. We select about maybe 3 times, most of the times, for our grapes to make sure there is no mold and there is no leaves or anything inside before we actually process the wine, before we actually press the grapes and then extract it to go into the fermentation tanks. So the Touriga is a special baby for us. It was the first time, or the first wine we made here at Barren Ridge, so it will always be fond to our hearts. We love it also, the taste, which means we will always have Touriga, even so it's very difficult to grow. So having said that, the Touriga is also a completely different wine than the French varietals that we have, all the German varietals, because it gives you a different taste profile. I find it always very unpredictable when I have the Touriga to say exactly what it will be, because if you combine it with certain foods, it will taste differently than other times. So here we'll have it with the cheese, and the cheese I selected today for the Touriga is the Pfälzer. It's the Manchego-style cheese from Gut Esse, and that Manchego-style cheese, I might have told you in the past, is for me better than some Manchegos I had really in Spain. So the origin of the Manchegos is in Spain, obviously, but this is really nice, and it's made always, like in Spain, from sheep's milk. Okay, and that Manchego is ripened, I believe, 3 years in the caves of Gut Esse, It's a real nice cheese. It's very, very good quality. And I had this morning, a cheese wine pairing with 3 lovely girls that are here on a bachelorette party. They did a cheese wine pairing for their bachelorette party, and we actually had that today as a tasting, and we all agreed that this is a perfect taste together. It's a match made in heaven, as we call that. So I wanted to present this, bring this vibe today to us, to you as well, from us to you, to have this experience, because we really never combined the Touriga with the Pfälzer, and that today was a revelation for us, that it really was such a beautiful pairing. Okay, so the first thing I usually do is I smell and taste the wine. And the first thing you do in wine, and I've told many people that, you look at the wine first to see what the wine looks like. That's the first thing you do in a wine, to see if there's any faults in the wine. You look at the color of the wine, you look at its opaqueness, you look at, and the opaqueness will give you the density. You look at the crystalline, if it's crystal, if you have crystal sparkles on the wine, that kind of stuff, if it's well made. And I had this question earlier on, what do legs tell you in wine? Legs usually don't tell you so much in wine. I've seen many legs, and in Germany the legs we call Öxler, and Öxler is the amount of sugar. We call that here, I believe in the States, bricks. The amount of bricks that you have in a wine. But I have seen many, many different wines with many, many different legs. And the only thing I can say with these legs is that what I really appreciated with these, when people describe these legs, is when they are very organized, when they're really spaced out perfectly well, you have a very nicely made wine. And if you have legs that go all over the place, have these kind of very strange structures, and they're not really spaced apart so nicely, the wine has a little bit of a problem. That's the only thing I can say. And and that's basically what I want to say with these legs, because people ask me about these things, so I just wanted to clarify what I think about that and what they really actually represent. So, having said that, the first nose of this wine, to me, I have dark cherries in that wine. I have a little bit of red fruit as well. And to me, that's cassis, red cassis. But the black cherries I have as well, and I have smokiness in that wine. It hasn't revealed itself yet completely, but the first nose already is very, very nice. So let's give it some oxygen, put air into the wine. A different smell comes out. There's a little bit of freshness in that wine that is almost like fresh laundry to me, honestly. It smells really like fresh laundry in the springtime when you hang it in the garden, that kind of smell. I know that's not really a wine term to use, but that's what I really right now smell. Deep, deep red cherries I have. And I have, as I said, this red fruit, this cassis. When you have Kir Royal, that kind of stuff that you put in champagne, that's cassis. And I have also, in the smoky note, I have some licorice that evolves in my upper palate. I have a little bit of nutmeg. And if I'm not, there's something else. It smells lovely. Today I really can also smell some bay leaves in that wine. So that wine has a lot of different aromas. It's a beautifully crafted wine, and that smell already is amazing. One of the ladies that I had the cheese wine pairing with said, it smells like when I was at my grandmother's when she was cooking and she was baking and everything. That smell, it's her experience that her grandmother had this kind of smells in the house, and she couldn't describe all the things what I said, but I knew what she meant, because you have a lot of different smells. Yeah, no, it's really a beautiful wine, so let's try it. lovely freshness, very, very fresh wine. The first note that you get is freshness of that wine. The mid-palate, it evolves into all these, what I smell, the aromas, retro-olfaction we call that, developed in the mid-palate. When I put more and more oxygen in, I felt really that smokiness develop tremendously well. And the wine persists still on my back. It's still in my throat. It's by now at least 10 seconds after I had swallowed it. It is a long persistence, that wine. It's a lovely wine. It is a mid-bodied wine. It's not a really heavy, full-bodied wine. It's a mid-bodied wine that gives room for food. With those bigger, fuller-bodied wines, you always have to have bigger, fuller-bodied foods. And here we have the Petit Verdot that is a steak wine. But this Touriga you can really put gorgeously on a lot of different foods because it will not overpower it. I think what I could do this very well is pork dishes would be very nice. Pork dishes, but I also could think, chicken dishes that are in a nice creamy sauce because the acidity of that wine will cut through that creaminess. And also what you can think of this wine, I think it would be wonderful. Yeah, I think that would be good with salmon. Salmon and this wine, because salmon has a touch of sweetness, and that wine, that smokiness of this wine will enrobe the sweetness of the salmon, and it will give it a nice, nice flavor. So that also would be a wine that you can try with heavier or bigger seafood. I wouldn't pair this with tuna. Tuna would overwhelm this wine, I think. But for example, swordfish, you could also go with that wine. That's also very nice. And if you want to stay on the vegetarian side, here tofu, the umami flavors, tofu, with any soy sauces, that also will be picked up by this wine because you have here these cherry flavors. So it would be very, very nice also to do. I like that very much. Also these vegetarian things, because if they're well made, they're fantastic in flavors. You have gazillions of flavors, and that wine gives you these gazillions of flavors with it. So it will pair very well with some specially made and nicely made vegetarian dishes. All right, so without further ado, let's try our cheese then. Here, as I said, it's the Manchego cheese from Pfälzer. Pfälzer it's called, it's from Gut Esse. And that Manchego cheese, when you smell it, you smell like you're in a salt mine. My grandmother came from an area in Poland that they had salt mines. They put people when they had lung diseases into these salt mines. And I went sometime with her, and I took someone Rob with me to these salt mines in Poland. And that's the smell you get when you go there. But there's, in addition, a smell of grass. You have fresh grass, and you have a little bit, I smell a little bit of the storage area where they had these. When we went to Gut Esse, we went to these caves, and that smell, that little musty smell of the cave, I have also in the nose. So that's the smell. The taste is delicious. The taste is very rich, very full, but because it is a sheep cheese, not as voluptuous as a cow cheese. So you have an astringency in that cheese that pairs it very well with wines like that. So what I like very much with this Manchego, I mean, you can combine it with anything you want in terms of red wines, but especially these medium-bodied red wines will be very nice with this one. And I had at some point paired it also with a Meritage, and that paired very well with a Meritage too. But this one is new for me, so let's see. And you take a bite, leave it in your mouth, and then you put the wine on top. What you have, the cheese, the saltiness of the cheese goes a little bit away, but you have the astringency of that wine, that beautiful cassis flavor, getting elevated, absolutely elevated in that pairing, which I like very much. You have. Let's try that again. That smokiness of the wine gets elevated into the upper part of the mouth. It lingers in the upper part of the mouth. It enrobes the whole mouth cavity. It is beautifully, the smokiness it evolves even more. And you definitely have a little bit less of that saltiness of the cheese, but you have that full flavor of the cheese, which that is that grassiness, that milkiness of these beautiful animals being out in the field. You have that cheese really becoming a different kind of cheese. It is still a manchego, but it is milder. It doesn't have as much saltiness, so it gets toned down a little bit, but because of that, you enjoy it actually a little bit more. Because I don't like when things are so salty, but it has very nice flavors, this manchego. And with that saltiness being toned down, because of this wine, I can have that manchego really all the time. It's really beautiful. And the wine also has more of this smoky flavor, which I like very much. When I explained it here in the tasting room, I say there is smokiness and there is a samba in this wine. And the samba, what I mean by that, is that you cannot pinpoint it. You cannot say directly, this is this, this is this, this is the cassis, this is the red cherry, this is, you know, the bay leaf and whatever. It comes into your mouth and it weaves in and out. It is whatever you have it with. And here right now I have that smokiness. I have a little bit of that cassis for sure. The black cherry is there, but not really so prevalent, which I like very much because it was really overpowering a little bit the other flavors. But now you have all these spices come in. The nutmeg is coming in, and the bay leaf is beautiful in the mouth now. Have another sip. The wine gets fuller. When I have it now without the cheese, it is thinner again. It's a mid-bodied wine, but if you have it with the cheese, the wine gets larger. The wine gets a little bit larger, not too obnoxious, but really nice and large to really withstand the cheese. And that's really nice. That's what I call the match made in heaven, because both of those components, the cheese and the wine, get elevated to a different level, and you have a change in taste. I love that very much. That's what I'm thriving for, to have these pairings give me a different experience, to bring me to a different level, and that's what this is for me. And so this is really nicely found. So if you ever get a chance, try the Turriga with the Pfälzer. You will be delighted. Okay, thank you very much for watching me today. I want to also mention that tomorrow we have a big celebration here. We have the Blues Society here, which we are so excited to have. Lots of great blues musicians will be coming. And we have also a Loving Crab cake food truck, but it's not just crab cakes. They have crab bisque and all sorts of things. Everything you can make out of a crab, I think he makes. He has also, I think, potato salad or macaroni. I don't remember anymore. Any kind of salad like this, and coleslaw. And it's really fantastic food. He has a following, actually, he told us, and I'm very excited tomorrow to try his food and listen to this great blues music. You have also the chance to go up on our hill. We have a lot of blues music up by the cabin. We're going to play outside despite the weather, so just basically get braced for Virginia weather. We're going to have maybe a couple of showers, but it's not going to be a downpour like today. So it's going to be really nice, I think, with a lot of sunshine and maybe a couple of showers. But hey, we're not made out of sugar. I think we can withstand that. So bring your rain gear if you want, and just maybe some umbrellas. And if you want to come to Barren Ridge, give us a call for reservations. We're kind of getting a little bit crowded, but no matter what, we will always find a seat for you. If you reserve, we will have a seat for you. And I wish you well. Thank you very much for being with us. And I want to also allude that we're going to have the 4th of July, we're going to have also a great celebration with fireworks. We're not quite sure yet what we do, but we have Shredder's Barbecue, which is one of the best barbecue food trucks from what we heard. Giancarlo, our pastry maker that also makes our breads, it was his neighbor, and he said he tried it and he was amazed how good his barbecue was. And when Giancarlo says something like that, I take that very seriously, because this gentleman has a taste palette and he makes fantastic products. So I'm looking forward also to that, Shredder's Barbecue. I've never had it before, but that will be on the 4th of July with a lot of fireworks, and we're going to have gazillions of music too. We're lining right now up all the musicians for that, so don't miss it. Don't skip the 4th of July party that we have here. Come on out and reserve for that as well. And I welcome you with open arms always to Barren Ridge. Thanks for being with us and supporting us. And I really appreciate when you give me feedback, so feel free to do. Don't be bashful about it. I love anything I hear from you guys about what we do here. It doesn't matter if it's mine or what Rob is doing also on these Live at 5 sessions. So give us some input, some stuff you might want to appreciate in the future. And what I just talked to Rob yesterday about, in the future I will do these cheese wine pairings live, virtual, but also we'll do that here at the tasting room. Make that for a special group of people that reserve for this tasting, and we do it together. So we're going to do it both virtual and in person, because I think now, after these vaccination things have happened, we can do this now more and more, to do these things in person. So without further ado, thanks much. And I wish you a beautiful Sunday, happy Memorial Day, and thanks for everybody who is with us. Thank you. Bye-bye.